Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're at, folks. It's your man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, it's 2023. It's just we know we're gonna see it. Some things are going wild, people wilding. But I appreciate y'all supporting my channel. This is gonna be the first interview for the new year. I had some news I talked about later, on my channel. But we do have a lovely lady here who's been grinding as a in the NPC for the past 26 years. Wow, and she is just recently, more than about almost a couple of weeks ago, she turned to an IFBB pro. Now we have here the lovely Miss Lada, and she can say her last name because I'm not good at saying the last name. Because
Okay, I see that. No problem. My last name is Plihalova.
Plihalova. Okay, one time I was saying Plihalova. I mean, it just these days are crazy. But she's originally from the Czech Republic, is I'm correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, correct.
and there's been quite a few ladies that come from your country, notably like people like Magida Zambalova, the late Elena Havani. Many women came. This just Eastern Europeans always come in the sport, especially from it's just I'm a fan of the Eastern European women. So we're going to talk about her, how she gets into the sport of masculinity and muscle, and how she feels. What's the next step now that she is an IFBB pro card. Welcome, man. Appreciate you coming through. So, share us your story of your path and how you got into this sport.
So I get in sport. Yeah, actually, I get in sport more than 26 years ago. I was counting it. I started training 1994, so it's like 29 years ago.
That's nearly 30. I think
Yeah, nearly 30 years
you
ago. Yeah.
just tied with a lady I did an interview a while back, and that is
I
I don't know
was
if you
like, I actually started when I was a teenager.
you tied with a lady I did an interview a while back. Her name is I don't know if you know her, Lindy Molazani, and she was she was competing for almost 30 years, just about like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like 14 years old when I started training. Um, and back then you said I'm from Czech Republic, and Czech Republic used to be a communist country before.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a teenager, it just flipped. It was just like a freedom and everything. And we didn't have these action movies before. We didn't have like, Rambo, Rocky, Terminator, Predator. They were forbidden in communism. And
You, you,
after the communism fell, all these movies like came at once in my country. So imagine like in America, you had like Rambo 1, and then maybe 3 years later it was like Rocky 3 or whatever. You have these movies spaced. But now imagine all these movies with this muscular man and muscular like characters coming at once.
so you telling
So
me
as a teenagers, we really love these action movies, like to look at them. And as a teenager, you're always looking for celebrities and stuff like that. My celebrity crush was actually Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold? Yeah, Arnold. I'm not a big fan of what he's doing now to what he has done
No,
to.
no, no.
Yeah,
But
yeah, but
back then, like the movies and stuff, like the physique. I think I've seen like one of the first movies I seen was Conan the Barbarian,
oh my God, that's a favorite. As a kid,
and like he's having Valeria,
yeah.
and Valeria
Remember,
was like a
remember
female.
the part, remember the part in the movie when you ask him, Conan, what's important in life? He said, to crush your enemies, even good for you, and hit the elimination of the women. And I mean,
Yeah,
as a kid, I used to watch that movie. They used to show about every other weekend, like after they show wrestling. Like there used to be these things called commercial for you show. You know, inciting. It's usually Conan or Clint Eastwood or some other movie you show. And Conan, I mean, like I said, grew up. I'm a big Arnold fan, but I'm not a fan too much of politics
but
now.
you know
But
what? Like back then, he was like the Valeria was the female character, and I
oh
was
yeah,
thinking even back then, like it wouldn't be good, like if Valeria had muscles, if Valeria was like a female counterpart of
yeah, yeah.
Conan the Barbarian. But I didn't know that women can have muscles back then. Like we are talking pre-internet era. You couldn't just open the internet and like look at the pictures and find it out. We are talking about the stuff and like it seems crazy when we are talking about this. It seems like a two different times. But back then there was no internet, so you couldn't have really the information. So if you didn't have somebody who was doing bodybuilding like right next door, you really didn't know. Like you didn't have how to find out. And I actually found out like a couple of years later after I seen Conan the Barbarian. I was watching another movie and it was Double Impact. And
Van
Double
Damme,
Impact, Van Damme.
Yeah, yeah.
because I was doing martial arts back then. I was doing karate.
Mm. Yeah.
And with my friends, we were watching, of course, like they were into more like those fighting guys like Chuck Norris, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And in Double Impact is Corey Everson. She's one of the, bad characters.
Yeah.
But that was like actually first woman with muscles I've seen. And I was like, so women can have muscles,
Yeah.
like, hey. And
Yeah.
I started to do my research, but back then, I believe my first research was in a library. I found out some information that Corey is like Australian bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew like, hey, so bodybuilding has something to do with this because, Arnold is bodybuilder, Corey is bodybuilder. So
Yeah.
there's the key, to get that physique.
Yeah. But
And then I was like, as I said, like it was my late 14, between 14, 15 years old. And I was, there was like a magazine stand and they had these magazines there. Like it was like the old fashioned PNS stand. And there was a magazine which was like a newly muscle and fitness check edition. It was one of the first issues they even had. And on the cover, there was Arnold and Corey.
mm-hmm.
And I was like, I didn't know what the magazine is having inside. I just bought it because I want to know more.
Mm-hmm.
And I opened it, and I remember in a centerfold, it used to have these big posters of bodybuilders you could put on the wall later. And there was this poster of Landa Murray
Yeah.
from Builder Days. It was the one, I don't know if you remember the iconic, like she's laying on the sofa naked.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
That was from Bill Dobbins' book,
yeah,
The
yeah,
Women.
Builder Days picture.
And
And
there
I
was
was
like,
like,
yeah,
oh my God, like this physique is amazing.
yeah.
And I started reading the magazine. There was like, you have to go to the gym, you have to do this, you have to do this. So a couple of days later, I went to the gym for the first time. That's how I started. So.
Yeah, I know. When I was a kid, I was like my older brother, my big brother. He used to play American football. He was like here in our hometown, and he used to get the muscle mags like Iron Man, Muscle and Fitness, Flex. And as a kid, I used to like to because I was as here in America we had cartoons like He-Man, we had
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thundercats, we had those, and they were superheroes. We had one character, Chitara. She looked like more like you would probably compare her more like a fitness competitor than into like a bodybuilder. And
Yep.
then, as I was getting older, you people like Corey Everson, Rick McLeish, Carla Dunlap, Angela Langer, they kind of intrigued me because at the time I was like getting to my teenage years and, getting to my, those, how boys are, we get to the pubescent age and just something about y'all women, which is something different. Because, I'm from the South, power in the South, little women a little bit more full, a little thicker. But like I said, yeah, but Arnold, yeah, he was the one, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno, those guys, they like, if you ever saw the movie Pumping Iron, that was the movie that really put bodybuilding on the platform. And also Pumping Iron 2 that came out, we had Ricky McGlash, you had Carla Dunlap, who came Miss Olympia that year. And also you had Beth Francis. And Beth Francis came in, she kind of changed everything. It said that women can get to that level. Because if you go back to the 80s, go part of the 80s, the ladies back then.
I actually have a Pumping Iron 2 women in my videotheque, so I have that video.
Yeah.
One of the good
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah, and I think the women I think when Beth Francis came in, she kind of changed the platform in a bit. And then you had Corey that won the title away from Richard. I think she won it from either Carla Dunlap, and then Corey came in, and then you had Linda come in, and then you had Kim Javetsky and Iris Kyle, and now you have the current champ, Andrea Shaw. And it's just the sport. It's like everything is evolving, and you've seen it. You've been in the boots ground. You see the people that came in come out of it. Folks, like I said, if you want to check out Lada, I do have social media in description. Reach out to her if you want to support her and also her content. But I'm gonna say this is something I say often. I tell these guys out here: no dick pics, you sick freaks. None. Don't. She has a husband. She said, "Who is saying that to my wife?" It'd be like, and I know your husband. He was your partner when you're doing mixed pairs.
Yes, we did. Yes, it was
Yeah.
2010 World Championship.
Yeah, I remember mixed pairs. That was really popular by good part of the '80s. I mean, I know people like Laura Quayval used to do it. Her and Tony Pearson. I know Diane Dennis used to do it. Quite a few ladies used to do it back in the day, but you don't see it much anymore. You might see it more I think
Actually,
overseas.
like we were IFBB back then canceled those, but I was competing in a federation which is NABA, and another federation is NAC in Europe, and NAC still had mixed pairs, and it
Mm-hmm.
was kind of my like dream. Like when my partner was doing bodybuilding as well, I was like, I really would like to do like the couple thing one day,
Mm-hmm.
and we got the chance of the World Championship 2010, so 2011.
Yeah. And how long y'all been together since 20? Is just not just
Um, 18 years.
18 years. That's good. It's good. Man, stand by a woman for 18 years.
2023, so 2023, 2003.
And he doesn't compete anymore. He just supports you.
He do competes.
All right. So what?
Actually, we did this year Masters USAs together.
Oh, that's pretty cool because I know a lady who just also got a pro card did the Masters USA. That's Leanne George. We me and her have been good friends for a good bit, and she just got her pro card that show. And I remember you telling me how you feel like you're a little bit full on water. You missed because I think were you doing both physique or just doing women's bodybuilding?
So he does man physique.
Mm-hmm.
I do physique and bodybuilding.
Uh huh. And like I said, and that's pretty good. That's both have passion for it. Um, like I said, in your experience as a competitor, what would you want to see more of? You want to see more representation for women in bodybuilding, or would you like to see like how things going as they are now?
What do you mean this?
Right, we like to see like as for the couple of seasons, not that many shows, and I know sometimes when they have the amateur shows, there's not a lot
Oh,
of women's bodybuilding. There's only like maybe a few shows that have it.
oh yeah. I mean, like getting more shows. Yeah, I'm totally. I heard that actually Arnold Classic will have a female bodybuilding back. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't have female bodybuilding for a while. They had only physique.
Mm-hmm.
So bodybuilding is slowly doing coming back in amateur shows.
Yeah, 'cause I think
And pro shows, this year I think was pretty good, but the next year I see like it's less shows than it was this year.
mm-hmm. Yeah, because
I
the
would like
list.
to see like a little bit more shows because it's like you have so many bikini shows and you have so many men physique and men classic shows. Basically, many local shows to have a name, they just slap some pro level on it, but it's usually bikini or physique.
Mm-hmm.
And with the qualification system for the Olympian change now, so you can have only winners. So there's no more point system and no more stuff like that. But then it leads like if you still have like 60 shows, you will still have 60 people on that stage. If you want to reduce the people, like this will not help in the classes like bikini or man physique. But in bodybuilding, if you will have like just a couple of pro bodybuilding shows for women, it will lead like you will have how many women on stage? Like 6, 7 women on stage at the pro level.
Well,
So
I
I
was.
would like to see more pro shows for women to have more bigger field at the Olympia
Yeah,
at the end of the year for the women.
yeah. I think counting the 3 days you are qualified, that is Andrea, Angela, and Hella. That's 3 days, and then I
Yeah,
think you
yeah,
have like maybe 7 shows. That
yeah.
maybe I
That
think
will be
about
10. Yeah, 10 competitors top. Yeah.
yeah. So 10 competitors. Well, they're supposed to be two more Linda Murray shows. Waiting on those. That's one in Savannah and one in Atlanta. Those both in Georgia. The thing is also the Rising Phoenix. That's supposed to be more of a also Olympic qualifier. But the problem is that most of the time it's mostly competitors who already got the qualification, plus Andrea Shaw. And that show since this is the World Bodybuilding Championship, I'm saying Andrew want to make up money because it's fun like this. As a competitor, it's not very frugal. This sport of
Yeah.
bodybuilding, it's very expensive. And if you are over here at the Olympia and somebody like Heidi Chopin and Big Ron can walk away with nearly $400,000,
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
half a million, and then Andrea and people like Natalia walks away with like $50,000, $40,000. That's
Yeah.
not fair. I mean, I
No.
understand it's about money and about these sponsorship, but at least try to give it because you got to at least get something out of it that you put in.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and you as an amateur, I know it costs you a little more because the fact is you're not getting paid. This is when you do a show, it's opportunity possibly to earn your pro card. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, we're going to show some pictures from her on her. We're going to be on her IG in a minute and show some pictures here. And these are nice little pictures here. Christmas pictures, photos, like that. And also, we're going to take a look from here. We're going to look here from when she's. These are, that's some of your co-workers from the. Because you say also you work in a casino. Hello. We're going to show you. Let's see. Here's his pictures here. Some lions. Where the lions at? That's cute.
We were in Vegas, and in Vegas it's like a lion sanctuary.
Uh-huh.
Retired animals from the casinos.
We got this picture right here. Now, this is your car? Dang, that's a nice car.
No.
Well, it's a nice car. You're a hot chick and a hot car. And these are nice little pictures you got, And the thing is about social media that I think ladies like yourself who try to keep up on your social media, posting pictures and stuff like that. And as fans, we love when y'all update stuff here so often because we're curious about what's going on. I know some ladies are not too social media savvy. That's a nice car. And, like I said, you look like you're having a good time. And yeah.
That was after the Olympia.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Finally could eat and stuff. So
yeah. Now here we is. We got a video from her at the Olympia. This is a video that she posted, and this is the
routine. This is the bodybuilding free routine. Yeah.
Okay, and you double dip your bodybuilding and physique.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's nice. Like I say, good lines. And you, like I said, how was that feeling when you told you that you are now officially IFBB Pro?
Yeah, I had almost mental breakdown, to be honest.
Yeah,
like I didn't expect it. They said like in the backstage, they told us it will depend how many competitors was in the show, and either only the first girl will get pro cut or the 3 girls will get pro cut.
Yeah, because I remember I saw that one day.
I didn't know if we will get pro cut like the 3 of us or only the overall winner.
Uh-huh.
And when they said like that, oh, you did it, like you all got the pro cards, I was like, finally, it was crazy.
Yeah, because I know there was supposed to be, I think it was supposed to be lightweight, middleweight, lightweight heavy. You were lightweight heavy, and also it was heavyweight. And I think one of the girls in heavyweight, there was no competitors for her, so she didn't get her pro card.
Yeah.
And this is from the physique part, or is that just?
No, this is. I believe this is the comparisons.
All right.
They sent us video. I was actually surprised. The Olympia production was really good for the competitors because they sent us these videos from the show. Mm-hmm. So I have my individual introduction. I believe is from the call-outs. And then I have the routine. So it was really nice from them to send us the videos.
Yeah, that's pretty nice, Look pretty, you get the big smile on your face, get a good kiss, And we have some pictures, here from the show. I think it was like, let's see, you got most pictures here. Take some time, man. Right here, we got some good. There's you, right here with the new Miss Physique champ, Natalia Cuejo. I was rooting for Brooke Walker. We have here Heidi Chopin, the new Mr. Olympia. And also we have some more pictures here. I think this is at the press conference. I think it's Heidi right here.
This is not the press conference. In Sunday is always like the seminar with champions. Mm-hmm. And they do, it's like a little smaller than the press conference, but it was actually interesting. Dan Solomon said they maybe want to expand this format. Mm-hmm. Because, like the press conference, some people are complaining it's getting too combative. Then some people say the old press conference were too boring. And they are now saying like this is actually good because this is after the show. So the athletes can actually open up a little bit more, the stress is lower. So these seminars after the show are always like nicer to do, and they said that maybe they will expand the format for more people to come. Instead of the press conference, they would have this post-show thing. So I think it's an interesting thing because when you are before your competition, you cannot really say like if you have a problem or something because you don't want to get attention of the judges and fans to some potential problematic area or problematic thing.
Hmm.
But post show, like when the athletes talking, like what happened in their prep, and all the stress is down, you
Hmm.
can get like more interesting stories. You can get more in touch with the champions, of course, afterwards. So
Hmm. And this is right here a video. I think this is where I think this is the part where you will win in the. This is both your bodybuilding
both my
win
classes, yes,
and
yes,
this is in physique and women's bodybuilding. You know, you took
yes.
second. You took second here, and you won the light heavy.
I won't lie here. I was third in a physique. Yeah.
Oh, third in physique. Okay, I thought it was second. I remember. See, I think on the right is the person who's going to be second, and on the left, the person is going to be third. Okay, and this is at the overall. That's Marilyn Yee. I did an interview with Marilyn Yee a while back. There's Teresa Rago. I'm hoping to maybe reach out to her, get an interview. And this, there you go. I mean, you got that pro card. You got you about to cry. I know you got back to the stage. You like tell you hug your husband. Oh my God, baby, I did it, baby. Yeah, you know.
And I didn't have time to process it much backstage because actually, like, they did the overall after the bodybuilding. So I get my win in bodybuilding, and then I went directly for the overall, and then I have the physique actually. So I
Mm.
had to be ready for the physique.
So you had no time just to suck it out, and you get to I got to jump over
Yes,
physique.
I just threw my pro card and my medal on the floor, and I ran to do my physique routine. So it was
Yeah.
actually fun.
And this is from the overall right here. That's Marilyn Yee on your left. You got
Yeah.
Teresa Rago on your right, and you're in the middle. And you feel like you're going to win since they kept you in the center.
I think they just kept us like the classes, like middleweight, light heavyweight, heavyweight.
So they moved you around like they usually do sometimes to see to do comparisons something like that.
No, they just let us the way it was. I think they pretty much knew.
Yeah, because like I say, I think you did the show Masters, I think the week or so before the Olympia, and I know Maryland did nationals that I think by that same week, and she most definitely she felt like she missed the opportunity to get a pro card there at nationals. That's why she jumped over to Olympia, and I think I told you that they were doing I think you told me that they were going to have women's bodybuilding, and I told some other people, I said, hey, they're going to have women's bodybuilding at the Olympia this year. And some ladies were excited because you know what, they felt like that'd be an opportunity to get the pro card because
Yes, absolutely.
yeah. And I think thanks to Jake Wood. Jake Wood's the guy who really gave women's bodybuilding a place because him bringing women's body back to the Olympia almost 3 years ago. You know, I was gonna say 2 years ago, and we brought it back in 2020. And then now even though it's still kind of struggling, not enough shows, not as many opportunities for qualification, but it's still around. I mean, for a long time, as a
Absolutely.
fan,
Like Wings of Strength is an amazing company, and Jake is doing amazing job keeping female bodybuilding alive. Because
yeah.
I
I
believe
mean,
if it wasn't Jake and Wings of Strength, the bodybuilding would be wiped. I
yeah,
really believe they saved female bodybuilding. Yeah.
yeah, because I know most people always say, "Oh, female bodybuilding is going to be put in the coffin, it's dead." And I think that was, I remember in '99 they almost didn't have Miss Olympia, and then they took and they put it together. It kind of lasted a minute. That was the last Miss Olympia for Corey Evans, so Kim Savetsky, I mean. And then they kind of changed it, and then they had came back in 2000, and they had the weight classes. And I'm
Yeah.
saying, why did they have the weight classes for? Then they had the two Miss Olympias, that was Andrea Bachette and and Valentina. And I said, why do they have the weight classes for? But anyway, we got here a man. This is 98. I can't say his name right. Olita. How you say Litor? Sorry, brother. I'm gonna your name now. I'm gonna call you 98. It's a lot easier for me. My highest respect for this. How you say it? Grandest achievement and only the best for the future. God bless and greetings from Germany. Oh, we got a dude from Germany. Yeah, because I got a dear friend in Germany by the name of Miss Tisha Tigris Thomas, and she just popped in. Just speaking of the devil, and here she comes. This is former IFB Pro Miss Tisha Tiger Street Thomas. Hello, Happy New Year. Many congrats to you, new pro Iron Sister Lada, and shout out to Tisha. Much respect to her. She's over there in Germany, and yeah, and Winter Strength, they really have stepped up, gave a stage from for women's bodybuilding, where which one point that is back in 2014, and it's like I won't quote some movies because I'm a big movie fan, and one of my favorite movies is Batman Begins with Chris Nolan and Christian Bale. He's my favorite Batman, and the part where Liam Neeson played Ra's al Ghul, he said to Bruce Wayne, said to overtake an enemy, you walk quietly behind them and stab them in the heart. And that's how the IFBB did, and Arnold did when they dropped both Miss International and Miss Olympia from the stages. Also, teachers like to say, Berlin in the house. Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, what's the plan for? Are you going to just sit out and just suck it in as being a new pro, or are you thinking about quitting?
This is an interesting question because I never actually believed I will become pro. I was just trying.
Yeah. Well,
And the thing is, I'm competing like I know that the biggest difference between the pro and the amateurs is mostly not even the size, but the quality. Like the muscle maturity, quality, hardness, stuff like that. And unfortunately, this is the biggest problem I'm always facing in the competitions. Wasn't my size or shape, but I always struggled to get the hardness, the dryness, the stuff like this.
mm-hmm.
And the thing is that I'm competing and I'm actually having problems with my thyroid gland, and I'm having problems
Right.
with I'm actually competing with PCOS.
Oh wow.
Um, these
Oh.
are things which are influencing your metabolism. They are influencing like how your body reacts to stuff. So your diet have to be different. Your prep have to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to figure out how to level up with what I've been given. And this is also the thing, for example, with thyroid gland, it really depends how and when your thyroid gland gets damaged. I, as a nutritionist, was doing like working with clients, and they had their thyroid gland low, but they had their thyroid gland low because they did something wrong in their nutrition. Like, for example, in the past, these ladies over dieted themselves. And when you are long time on a low calories, it can damage your TSH production. So your thyroid gland can be sluggish, can be low. Your metabolism can, you basically have like a negative adaptation, but it's still an adaptation for something what happened in the past. And it can be undone. It can be fixed. It takes a time, it takes a patience, but it can be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Well,
problem is that I have this problem with the thyroid gland when basically I have no production of my thyroid gland since I was 7 years old.
ooh.
It's something what cannot be undone by proper dieting. It's something what I'm living with. So to level up for the pro level, I have to figure out a couple of things which goes mainly for off season, not even in season, but off season. I have to figure out how to keep better quality off season, so I'm not digging myself, like in a diet. I'm not too low in the diet. How to get the more calories and more stuff in the diet. So right now, let's just say that I was starting from this point, and then in the diet I got to this point, and it was really low. I have to figure out how to level up the off season, so I'm ending up somewhere, not so low. So then I don't have to have any rebounds and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I
So I definitely want to take now longer off season. I'm not saying I will retire now. I'm saying like maybe you will see me in pro level show again. But
yeah.
I need to take the time off, figure out mainly the metabolic stuff and the diet stuff, and get a proper off season, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
competing now for 4 years, and because, as I said, like I'm working with this disadvantage, I'm having really low prep, really long prep. So my prep usually takes 30 weeks of dieting,
Mm-hmm.
and because I was competing back to back to back for 4 years, I think I need a proper off season first to prepare for the barking with the bigger dogs,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's a different game. It's a higher ball
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, you want to talk with the dig dogs. You want to make sure you have all your your weapons and all things set up. And like I
So
did
that's
it.
it. Like, I was thinking like if competing, then either later this year, take like the whole year to figure it out, or the next year.
Well, like I said, next year good because like I said, it's still gonna be shows, and also you never know they might add more shows. I know some ladies who I did interviews with. They say they like to have some more shows out west, especially like in California. They don't have to go all across the country just to go do a show like in Chicago, New York. I mean, at one point I thought they was going to do a show in Texas, and then they dropped that show in Texas. I don't know what happened with that because I know there's quite a few bodybuilders that live in Texas, ladies I've become friends with too, and some have moved there. But I heard about what you have PCOS. I did interview a lady who's an amateur herself, and she has it. Her name is Miss Karen Griffin, and I've seen the video. You might check it out. Maybe you can reach out to her. I can see your link also. Y'all can probably you can bounce them out. Maybe she can give you information how to deal with this thing. And I think people got to understand that the women's body is totally different from men. Like I do content on mixed martial arts that I know in UFC over there. You in Vegas, UFC is very popular over there. Dana White, he's crazy, and
Right.
yeah, and where I compare female bodybuilders to almost like to the women in MMA because you have to try to lose weight, you have to go to weight cuts, and a woman's body is different. I think some say they don't women ain't supposed to go under. I think somewhere between 10 to 12% of the body max index. But then you have to come in dry and shredded and, vascular. And sometimes that does affect us. I know I have a friend of mine, she's a pro, and she had to take a step back because, one time she got sick and she really didn't know what it was, but she realized she had issue with her thyroid. And then, I knew a lady who was competing, she had Crohn's disease and she was in and out, and she had to just completely say, she was done and retire because the fact is Crohn's disease is just it's an issue with your bowels, and sometimes it just affects your dieting. But yeah, that's the one thing about the sport is your diet, the cost of training, the cost of your suits, the cost of hair and makeup, and also it can be mentally and physically stressful to be a competitor, even if you're not even in the pro level.
Absolutely, I agree with everything what you said. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the thing is, like, you can compete with many problems. You have to just figure out how. And sometimes it takes longer time to find out what works for your body. Um, Sometimes telling this one that I have these problems, not to complain about them, but just to show like, hey, I'm doing this because this is what works for my body. For example, I'm preparing my diet. I'm working on keto diets. So when I'm dieting, I'm on keto diet. I'm like no carbs.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, like I would not say that keto diet is the only diet you have to do, because for many people it doesn't work. For many people it does work. I'm just saying like, hey, keto diet now work for me. This is how I am preparing.
Mm-hmm.
And I like admire everybody who's competing and preparing with any problem they have in a metabolism, because it's harder, as you said, like, to get all the hormones and hormonal stuff, in control and get on the top of your diet. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
harder. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's one lady. She's become a friend of mine. Her name is Alicia Flario. She used to compete, but she turned to a vegetarian. She's no, she's a vegan. And I know there is a couple of bodybuilders that do vegan. The thing about vegan is that most important thing about it is that you need protein, and and that's the important part about because you can't build mass without protein. And figuring out a good diet works for you. The keto diet might work for you, it might not. Or maybe have you seen a nutritionist or any specialist about figure out what kind of diet can work for you, or are you talking to anybody yet?
No, no, I am nutritionist, and I figure out everything myself. I never had a trainer. I actually had one person who was like advising me back home in Czech Republic in beginning of my career. But I never had a trainer. I never had money for trainers. I never. Sometimes I came to someone like a nutritionist for sport nutritionist, and I showed them my blood work and what I have, and they said like, "You cannot do this sport. This is it. Like they didn't want to work with me. Like a lot of people didn't want to work with me.
That's
So
fantastic.
I had to figure out everything myself.
That's,
So I'm nutritionist myself, and sometimes when I need like the second eye, because sometimes you need it, especially in the prep, when you're in the prep, and you tend to overdo things sometimes. Like like you have to speed it up, and you need somebody else to tell you, no, you're on track. Like just wait, be patient. That's my husband, who's like the one who's keeping the eye on me. But actually, like I never had like bigger cooperation with anybody.
And that's what I talk about. In that, one thing is that it's a lot harder for women bodybuilders to get sponsors because they'll go with the divisions like bikini or wellness. The guys will get sponsors a lot easy. And and some women, they do things like OnlyFans or certain, they do sessions, certain things so they can make money, because even though some women do have a job, but then, as you said again, the sport of bodybuilding is expensive. It's a hobby sport. I wish it was more of a sport in which you competitors, once you hit the pro level, you make a profit. Like say, okay, let's say, or you're not competing off season, you're not winning prize money. Oh, let's give you a couple of $1,000 for the next 2 or 3, 4 months so you start competing, and that's something you can put in your pocket. That helps with your prep and everything else, and it can fill in for when things like you might need to get a posing suit. You might want to pay for your travel because I got to do a show in New York. So, well, I got to pay the price of a ticket in a hotel. I mean, it's a lot, especially when you have so many responsibilities outside of that. Taking care of your home, you get your light bill, you get your rent, like that, and then you try to find the money to pay for prep. And then, like I said, you're coaching yourself. Some people have coaches, and you got to pay a coach. We got my man XA Gucci 23 coming through. Hello, George Page. Yeah, my man XA. Hey, how you doing? And Happy New Year, brother. And like I said, women like you who have been in this game as long as you have, and you have competed alongside. I saw that back in 2019 when you competed at the Olympia Amateurs. You competed with a couple of ladies I've become acquainted with. Amanda Schnooks, who we met a while back. Me and Amanda have been Facebook friends a long time. We met just past summer, and also Cara Das Sola, who also competed at that show. That's when she earned her pro card. And me and Cara Dad,
Yes.
we used to talk, and that was, I think, that was, I think, was that the first time you did the Olympia Amateurs, or was that the second time?
Yeah, that was the first time. First
Mm-hmm.
Olympic amateurs, yes.
Yeah.
And back then they didn't have actually bodybuilding, they did have physique. So we
Mm-hmm.
were all competing in physique class, yeah.
Yeah. And I think you also did figure two.
Yeah, and I did figure, yeah. Because the thing with this is like if I'm preparing like for 30 weeks, dieting and training and stuff, I don't want to be on stage like 2 minutes. So if I can jump to more classes, like just to show off myself. So I always have like one class, which is my primary class, which back then was physique, it was bodybuilding. And then I have class which I'm doing like, let's just say just for fun, if I can tell this way. And
Yes, right.
2019, yeah, it was figure, yeah.
Yeah, because I think I saw back when you were competing back in the Czech Republic, you were in another. It was kind of like, I think it was body fitness. It was kind of like bodybuilding, but with high heels.
Um, I was competing actually. It's a little bit more complicated. I started competing in IFBB amateur. IFBB amateur it was back then like an APC.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was like not really fitting the classes. I was something between figure and bodybuilding. Back then it was no physique yet.
Yeah.
It was women's fit. It was actually just 3 classes. It was fitness, it was figure, and it was bodybuilding. And bodybuilding used to have these weight classes,
Mm-hmm.
But then in Europe, they basically take away the weight classes from the bodybuilding. So suddenly, like I was back then competing as a lightweight bodybuilder, and I had to suddenly compete with these heavyweight girls. So it didn't give sense to me. Like, hey, they're like, you can basically beat some girls on a shape, but if the girl is like a 30 pounds heavier or 40 pounds heavier than you, then you will not be there on shape or something. So
So
because I was still lightweight, I said, okay, I will go to figure. So I will like step down and I will go to figure. But my first figure competition was 2006. And I didn't place well because they said, your legs are too big, you're too wide, you're not fitting. Back then, figure was looking more like I always said like, it's moving up. So back then the girls are looking something like a bigger bikini girls. And I was really like, I was having, just to think about it in terms of weight. I'm having like 140-ish now on stage. I was like 130. I was fitting like just on the edge in the light heavyweight. I was 139.
Mm-hmm.
And back then I was competing and I was having 110. So you can imagine like I was way smaller. And they still said like, oh, you're too big for a figure. You have too big legs and too big this and too big that. You don't fit in figure.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what to do, what class to do, because bodybuilding, there was just one class. And I was like, I will no way be able to compete in just like a half a year or something with the heavyweight girls. And in figure, I was too big. So I went to compete for NABA Federation. And NABA Federation used to have something what they called, I don't even remember. See, they called figure. But their figure was actually what I would say women physique is now in NPC. It were bigger girls. They did wear heels, but they did pose on stage. So they did bodybuilding. It was basically bodybuilding posing, but with the high heels.
Uh-huh. So you're used to
So
wearing the
I switched to federations, and I went to Federation NABA, and I was competing in figure in NABA. But figure in NABA wasn't what figure in NPC or IFBB. The
yeah.
girls are bigger. They were like more looking for the shape and the size, like the X frame and stuff like that, and it fitted my physique better. So that's why I went competing there.
So it was more like you was like if you look at figure now and see how if I like if you compare it like it's like putting like with your situation it's like putting somebody like Sarah Vilgas up against Andrea Shaw. She
Yeah,
probably if even if Andrea if Sarah has a conditioning better
yeah,
than
yeah,
Sarah,
yeah, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
yeah. And then you look at the other divisions also like fitness and figure. Those girls are looking like more closer to I would say physique competitors because you
Yeah,
saw because you look at somebody like Missy Trescott, she's getting a lot
yeah.
bigger.
I believe if they start posing like do the poses, they would be like almost like physique, yeah.
Yeah, she's not that far from it. I think what is I think that she don't have those certain X factors, but she does have those. They call it round muscle bellies, like she has big shoulders.
Yes.
I follow her on social media. I even debated that. I think she might need a. She probably can give Natalia and Sarah a run if she ever decided to jump over.
Yeah.
But we got here my man Balls Deep. He's saying word up and salute. Appreciate your man's Ball Deep. Also, he says Merry New Year. Yeah, appreciate you, brother. Chicago in here. Yeah. Also, smash the like button. And he says, or Sonny Andrews. And even, like I said, and peace and blessings to the chat. Thank you, my brother, Balls Deep. And yeah, Sonny Andrews, who does wellness, those wellness girls are not too far from that. They're right there. I think they're right there between figure and physique.
Yeah. They almost are, yeah.
Yeah, because I think I was looking at some videos or he was posting from behind the scenes, and it's just that they have bigger butts. That's on difference, and and they have more muscle density than the bikini girls, and about at the level, like I said, in between figure and physique, right there. Yeah. But as a competitor, like I said, what would you like to see change in the sport? What you want to see is what you feel like things that could be advantage for you as an athlete.
Change in physique. It's maybe the thing we are talking right just now. It's about like pushing the standards all the way up in the certain different classes. And I seen that like I was in the past always solving it that I was jumping from different class to different class. So I was basically competing in figure fitness, which like the regular figure fitness, which we know in the NPC terms of physique, bodybuilding. I was always moving from class to class, the what gave sense to me the most. But the thing is that I have a feeling like, as you said now, especially in amateur level, which I was up to now,
Mhm.
sometimes you can see like who is who backstage only when the girls is start putting on shoes or not putting on shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Like the girls, like their physiques, they look the same, and you don't know like who's bodybuilder, who's women physique, and who's a figure. And to me, if you want to have different divisions, these divisions should be more clearly separated from each other. Like I've seen physique girls jumping both physique and bodybuilding, winning in both. I myself didn't place rank in physique at the Olympia, and I was light heavyweight bodybuilding, so I was not even like a middleweight or lightweight. I was light heavyweight bodybuilder, and I placed third in women physique. And I kind of feel like it's like kind of my pet peeve that the standards of each class should be so different that if you go and you are a figure girl and you will jump to physique, you cannot place well in physique because you should be having like a different type of figure, different type of body for your class. If you're a physique girl, you jump to bodybuilding, you cannot win in bodybuilding because again, like you would have different physique. If now, especially in an amateur show, one girl can do figure, physique, and bodybuilding and place well in all three of them, then why we do have these classes? You know what I mean?
I understand. I feel you. I remember I saw a show. It was at the Romania. They have an amateur show for the main show, and this one lady, she won for women's bodybuilding. As she earned a pro card both in women's bodybuilding and women's physique. And I know I've talked about this in my channel how the judging should be more okay. What's the judging criteria? Because one day, okay, it could be this condition or it can be less condition. I think one thing I think Sarah Vigor said that she came in a little softer because she wanted something because she felt the judges might want us a little softer. But then Natalia, because you were beside Natalia, she was a lot bigger. I remember my friend, yeah, my friend Alicia told me she saw her and they met. She was like, Alicia, she's an NBC judge, and she saw her at an event, and she looked a lot bigger she was in from last year. And then I saw some ladies who, my opinion, should go over women's bodybuilding because they just don't have. It's like they have like they have bigger lats. Their quads are a lot bigger. I think the idea of women's physique was supposed to be maybe smaller, or maybe going back to like Linda Murray.
I
And
felt when they introduced the class, they wanted to kind of bring back that 90s look the women had.
mm-hmm.
You know, like a little bit soft. They wanted like a softer, more classical, and more emphasis on the X frame, like the lats and then tiny waist and like, you know, the shape. And then it went like basically now the criteria is same like for bodybuilding.
one thing I think
I
one thing
was
different.
doing some shows when I was only physique and I was just preparing the same way I would prepare for bodybuilding. I didn't change anything.
Only thing that's different from the two divisions is the poses, because there's only like
Yeah,
five poses for women's physique.
of course, yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
because I know some ladies. I see some women do in physique division, like and they do the prejudging and the free posing. They'll do a flat spread.
And now, like, I
And
have a feeling that even the figure is kind of chiming in because I remember, like, you know, as I said, like 2006, when I basically didn't have where to go in IFBB because bodybuilding was only one class and figure was too small. They said, "Oh, you have these big legs." And now you can see me in the 2019 Olympia, where I was basically preparing for physique, and I was really trying to get the pro cut already there in physique. And I'm in figure, and I am less conditioned and have smaller legs than some of the figure girls who beat me in masters.
yeah, it's crazy.
You can see these ladies, and they have like the cross striations on their legs, and you know, like this physique, like you know, really like extreme X frames, and they are competing in figure, and they were placing ahead of me. They were placing well in figure.
And like I said, figure supposed to be like the more I would say muscular version of bikini.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now it's getting to the point where you look at people like Jessica Padilla. You look at a couple of ladies who I've seen follow that you like. I remember that.
I can see it in the leg development of figure. Back then, the figure girls they didn't have like these round, striated quads.
Mm-hmm.
They were like and when they turned around, they didn't have like hamstrings visible from the back. They were softer. They were having like more streamlined physiques. And now they are almost crossing. I would almost say like the best figure girls. They look like the way I would imagine the physique would look like, and the best physique girls they're almost on the borderline with the bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But this push is like how far you can push it. You know, like Because if we are pushing these classes higher and higher and higher, and we can talk about health of the athlete, sometimes someday we'll push it over the threshold.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are seeing these athletes dying on backstage or on stage.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feeling that we are almost at the threshold of what like a human physique can endure.
Yeah, because
So like, if you're pushing, but I believe that this push goes from the classes below, because if you have these girls and they're pushing the physique higher and higher and higher and higher in their physiques, then of course the top have to push even higher. So you have this push coming from the below, like when you're pushing all these standards in the classes more high, then the whole industry is like being pushed that way.
Yeah, it's like it's evolution.
Is it good for the sport? Like, is it good for us? Like, to do this? I know that people say like that the sport is developing, and definitely, like I can see it like from 90s it's developing. But now we have so many, especially again, I'm not talking about guys, but I'm talking about the female side. You have so many classes now.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I feel like these classes, they should hold the standards, and who should be like developing are the athletes. Like you will be starting, like just say you're a new athlete, you will start in bikini, you will grow up, you go to whatever, wellness or figure, you grow up figure, you go physique, and you end up in a bodybuilding at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like you as an athlete, of course, like we want to be better, we want to develop our physique, but we should be also ready to switch the class when it's the time. And I have a feeling like this comes from sometimes the athletes are not ready to switch the class. As a trainer and nutritionist, I had some clients of mine who were like good. They were already over the threshold. They were, for example, bikini girls, and they were having nice, they were training well. They were happy in training. So they developed their physique. And suddenly she was having too big X frame for bikini. And I told her, okay, like you have now this big X frame for a bikini, let's try figure, like let's go figure. And she was like, no, I want to be bikini because bikini is, more feminine than a figure. And she was trying to fight me. But I said, like, we wouldn't change anything. You wouldn't be more masculine or muscular. You would be exactly the physique you have now. Doesn't fit the standards for bikini anymore. The physique you have now, you don't have to change the physique. It's how you develop. You go to figure. And then I had a figure girl, and she didn't want to go physique because she was thinking that physique is too masculine. She want to be figure. So sometimes the girls, they get stuck in their class, even when their physique is already over the edge. And they should be told, no, like, you're already there. You're already like different class. You're physique now. Like, stop competing in figure. Stop competing in bikini. Go figure. Go physique. Like the athletes should be pushed, and they should be able to change the class. But the class standards shouldn't be pushed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point, because I know I talk about this with some people, like how some girls say, I want to stay here, but you got to think about it. If your body, especially if your body's evolving and changing, you have to, I know they usually say, or wait till the judge tell me something. But you can't always rely on the judge.
Interesting. I was competing in this. I was competing in NABA. And NABA has this division, WFF. WFF and NABA are like federations which are like intertwined. They're like together. And they had this competition, and before the competition, they put all the athletes, all of them, on stage in lines. And the judges will look at them, and they said, you go figure, you go bikini, you go bodybuilding. I was preparing for figure on that show. I landed in bodybuilding. Because they said, no, you're too big for figure. And basically they tell you either you go figure and you will be disqualified because you're too big, you're over the criteria. Or you go the class they are telling you, and then you have a chance to fight for, some result. And it was funny because at that show, it was actually Miss Universe. They pushed me from figure to, they call it body extreme, but extreme is like a bodybuilding. It's bodybuilding, basically their highest class. So they pushed me from figure to this highest class with this bodybuilding. And I was no way I'm going to win there or something, do the result there. And I was actually second at that show. So these judges were like doing like a pre-selection. So you were signing only for the competition, but you was not having assigned any class. And before the show, the judges look at you, they assess you, and they said, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this. That way they can pick up like the physique of the athlete which fit together, and they didn't push the classes. They pushed the athletes to the correct classes, if I say it this way.
Well, I think that's pretty. I think you should do it in here in EPC and IFBB because there's some women who try to squeeze themselves. If you are a woman who is, you look like you're a figure girl, and you're trying to squeeze yourself in bikini, you should go up the figure. If you're a physique girl and you try to squeeze yourself in figure, you should go up to physique. And if you like a physique girl, try to squeeze yourself, and you are a girl in physique, try to squeeze yourself in physique, and you're not placing well or whatever else, go up to bodybuilder. As you know, bodybuilder's not too crowded. I know there's like at least nearly 20 some shows for physique, and there'll be like 30 competitors. But where in bodybuilding you might have 5 or 6 women, I would say jump over here and take a chance to see what happens. It might get you a little bit qualification. It might even you might do well. But it's like I said, it's all up to that person. And especially I know some ladies say, "Oh, I talked to my coach to see where we want to go with this." But like I said, you can't be afraid because you're gonna say that use that excuse says, "Well, if I'm a bodybuilder, I'm not feminine. I won't be feminine." But look at somebody like Andrea Shaw; she's very beautiful. You look at
Yeah, yeah. I'm feeling like the bodybuilding is unfortunately having the worst stigma. Like just the word bodybuilding, a lot of ladies are afraid of this. I'm like, you already there. You wouldn't change your face. You wouldn't change your body. You wouldn't change anything on yourself. Do you feel yourself being masculine right now? No. Then why are you afraid to just go to that class? It's like they have a feeling like just because they can say, "Oh, I'm a woman physique or I'm figure," that people will not judge them that harsh with the same face, like same body. Like they have a feeling like the stigma of the word bodybuilder. I'm a bodybuilder. And I believe like it's bad because if we get more of these girls in that class, that can change it. They can be like, look, we are not all masculine. We are looking feminine. We are looking good.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's up to them, and like I said, you have to accept that when you start getting your body starts changing, you start developing, you start getting those styrations, you start getting those muscle bellies. You just can't keep like this. Like you can't keep putting yourself like
Yeah,
being
but then there is a problem with the judging because the judges, these stuck ladies, they are giving them the first places, and that's how the whole class shifts. Because these girls, for example, coming with the harder conditioning and bigger and rounder bodies, and of course, like in terms of like what bodybuilding is, like the sports of bodybuilding, what the base of our sport is, it is about like getting bigger and better and more shreddier and stuff like that. And you know that these girls were working hard to get there. So the judges kind of want to appreciate that, but then they give the girl first place. And that's how the whole class shifted because the other girls now see, okay, so she came bigger and better and harder. So we have to do the same for the next time to win. So the next time these girls are coming harder and bigger and shreddier because everybody want to win. And this is how these classes are changing. And I believe that it should be maybe judges to keep these standards and said, no, unfortunately, you're too much. You didn't lose because you was bad looking. You lose because you don't fit in the standards anymore. If you go next time a different class, you will be placing well. So, like this way.
Well, like I said, it's up to that person what they want to do. But they know they know what they need to do, but they choose not to. Sometimes people have hard heads. Like my mom said, you got a hard head, you got a soft ass. But we do appreciate her coming through, Miss Lada, and sharing her experience because as a fan of bodybuilding, I respect you ladies. When I started doing this content and started doing interviews, I really learned a lot because I was just a fan. I'll admit it. I'm a muscle purge smoke, and and talking with you ladies and the information you give me, I mean, I'm really growing in knowledge from individuals like yourself and many other ladies who have been in the sport. And I have people who watch my channel say, like, you know what, I'm really learning something because they don't all they see when they think of female bodybuilders, they think it's big women, yeah. But y'all, like I said, like this, ladies, you are women, you are athletes, your wives, your mothers, your wives, your trainers, your instructors. You are in a sport we have a passion for. And most people just can't get up every day. And people talk about, oh, you can all you gotta do pop some steroids. You'll be about no. Steroids is just one of the factors of it. You have to eat, you have to train, you have to be consistent. You have to sometimes just there's in the morning like I go work out because I used to be about over 400 pounds. and then I'm down to like about 390 now. That's the light as I've been since I've maybe for a long time. And it's about being consistent,
Yeah,
about following your
absolutely.
diet, training, doing cardio. I might do like 30 minutes on the treadmills.
That means me changed me like I was changing my body like 26 years. So
Yeah, yeah. And I like I said, it's just the process of this. This is about a process. It's not about have, what you want to take it or shoot up. It's about you have to be able to eat. You have to be able to train. You have to be able to take the rest. Even just do stuff like get a nice massage to help out with your body. It's just so much to it. It's not that simple. A lot of people think, and those people who think it's simple. Well, you'll learn the hard way.
yeah, true. That's true.
But one thing I would, if I could do, one thing I could do is I would say like this. I would say like this, Miss Lada. I want to, if I had the wings of means to do it, I like to sponsor people like you. I would like to say, you know what, put some money behind you. Make sure if you need something, I got you taken care of. So one thing that there's guys out there who have the wings. Like I say this, if you are out there and if you have the way and the means to support women like Lada, all the ladies who are IFB pros, NPC competitors, reach out to them and genuinely ask. Don't be like I talk about these guys be out there like this. Well, Lada, you're a pretty chick. You got a nice body. No, don't ask her that. Be like just go and say, Miss Lada, I want to sponsor your next show. If you need something, let me know. I don't want anything in return but for you to grow and develop as a competitor. And we need to see that more. We need to see people step up and support y'all. You are athletes. You may not get the money like you get if you play basketball or football like that, but at least you should have something. Like you get this pro card, it's like $200 every year you got to pay. You should get something out of it. You should get like health insurance. You should get life insurance. When you say, you know what, I'm going to retire. You should have some money for you. You say, you know what, a little pension. Because I got a friend. He's an IFB pro. My man Big Keith. We talk about stuff, and he used to play professional football. And we competed for almost 20 years, but he still gets a pension for the time he put in. And I think that should be only fair because the IFB make money off you. No one really comes to see Jim Mannion or Jake Wood or Robert Chain. We come to see you, and I think y'all should get something out of it in anything.
Yeah, that's true. But I have a feeling like the sponsorships and stuff is changing too. Like the social media, they changed a lot. Like now you can have even people who are not like really athletes and not competing well and not placing well. And just because they have the content and the followers and stuff like that, they can get the business side of the way, like, get the sponsorship with the companies. And especially in women, I never was like that sexy girl who's like showing the butt and stuff like that. I'm more showing like my life. I'm treating my Instagram more like I would say my photo album. I'm showing like I like hiking. I like going to nice restaurants. I like animals, as you could see on the videos and stuff. So I'm sharing what is basically making me happy. I'm sharing my daily life. And I'm not getting the follow up that big as, for example, some girls who are not even competing in bikini. They are just like a wannabe bikini, and they are showing their butt, on the stream like all the time. But unfortunately, it's a simple counts for the companies because I was reading some article that from each 1,000 followers, you get like a 1% of people who will eventually buy some stuff you're advertising.
Mhm.
So these companies, I understand they go for the follower number. So this girl is basically followed by these guys, like looking at her butt every day. But they guys are creating the numbers, and the numbers are speaking to the potential sponsors. So there is at this moment in the game, a lot of people who are those influencers, and they are not even competing. Some of them, if they would going to compete, I believe that some other athletes would kick their butts. Like they wouldn't even do that at this stage. And yet they are ending up and I saw it actually like at the expos, like the people at the expos are changing, on the booth. And I was literally like, it was not this Olympia, but I believe it was like in Birmingham when I was living in England, like 2016, 2017, something like that. I was there on the expo and I was like, who's this girl? Like, like they look like average girls you meet every day in the gym. Oh, this is that influencer. Oh, this is that influencer. I made pictures, like just on like what's going on my Instagram, and some girl like who was my client. I was training a lot of bikini girls. Oh, this is this girl, like she was following her on Instagram. And when I saw the girl in reality, she was not even looking the way like it would be like a wow physique. And yet she was on stage on a booth, and she was sponsored, and there was some girls, and this is the irony, there were some girls, like she was obviously some influencer who was doing like these bikini shots, and there were some of these bikini girls who were following her on Instagram, and they were making shots with her, and these girls were looking better than the influencer, so it's kind of hard to get like the sponsorship in this day when you're not really, and I would say I'm quite introverted person. I'm not that outgoing person. I'm more introverted, more for myself. And when you're not really like this extroverted, bubbly, sexy, it's very hard to get the follow-up on the social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's even hard for people who are sharing like knowledge. One time I was trying to share more like about nutrition, about supplements, what to do in my training videos. I was more trying to show like what to do, what not to do, and it was having even less follow up than the live pictures. So sometimes it's like even like the information itself is not valued, so it's really hard to get like in the business now if you're not having the entertainment side in you. But then it's a problem. I see again like it's a problem because now these people gaining the high follow-up and stuff like that, a lot of them is also like a trainers and nutritionists, but maybe they don't have that much know-how. And it's like the people now going for advice to entertainers than to the professionals. And I'm saying like the situation to me is like you have this surgeon which is like a super surgeon, but he don't have the follow-up, and then you have this actor who is playing a surgeon in a TV, and you would say the people would go to this actor more than to the real surgeon just because the real surgeon is not having the follow-up. No, you know what I mean. But in a fitness, you often have this situation.
Yeah, like I said, it's just about who's popular, who's hot, who's now. But like I said, ladies like you, I respect you, and and respect your commitment to the sport and the work you put in. You deserve a lot more of anything than somebody who just goes on YouTube or IG and just put pretty pictures up. You deserve at least to be put at a high standard, and that's fair because like I said, you put in the time, you put in the work, and you should get like I believe this. You should get what you put in it out of it. So, folks, we're not going to be here too much longer. I do appreciate her because this is I enjoy doing these interviews when I do them. I mean, I get education, I get a back and forth when I talk to these ladies, and I know a while back a friend of mine he was at the Arnold Classic. He said that he used to go there. You can get like a bag. He used to get a bag full of stuff, and said last time he barely got maybe some pre-workout powder and a couple of pills. But it's just things are just it's just what it is. What it is.
Yeah, it's changing. I noticed at the Olympia Expo, I had a feeling like a lot of companies was missing. So maybe during COVID, also a lot of companies learned better ways how to do the advertising online. Everything was closed, so they had to learn how to survive without these expos and without these advertisements. So I have a feeling like now after the COVID, it's harder because now these companies, they will not waste the money for the expos and the samples and stuff like that because they learned the advertisement during the COVID to do it online, to like the stuff is like basically moving, as I said, like social media and online stuff and online advertising.
Yeah.
Because I noticed like this Olympia like was basically, it was now in Florida, so I couldn't really travel. So this was the first Olympia basically after pandemics, the Olympia X5 was at. And yeah, I noticed like quite a bit of companies was missing, which I really do think that they basically put the majority work into the online, maybe building channels, building, the influencer net.
Hmm. Yeah, that's where it's going. Well, folks, as I said again, if you want to get up with Miss Lada, you want to reach out to her. She also says she's. You said you're also a coach and a trainer, right?
Yes, I'm a coach and trainer. I was not doing it here in the United States of America, but if somebody have any questions, want get any touch with me, I do have the certifications. I used to train girls in Europe. I was preparing my competitors. I was preparing bikini figure, physique girls, posing, So yes,
And
absolutely.
and, and the
Somebody
same
has
week,
any questions about it, any inquiries, I will be more than happy to help.
and also the same week she got her pro card, is she became a United States citizen. So
Yeah, yeah.
congratulations on that. I mean, hey,
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of so congratulations on that. Welcome to America. You've been here for a long time, but now you welcome my fellow citizen now. But folks,
That's another thing which took so many years because it wasn't
yeah.
easy.
Well, like I said, some things it's never easy, and if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the thing is, yeah, everybody do it. So one thing before we go out, do you have anybody want to say, thank you, or anybody want to shout out to appreciations, like there, or
Well, shout out is to my husband because my husband is going through the majority of the things with me because as I said, I'm 26 years competing and I'm almost 20 years with him. So he's with me basically through the majority of the stuff we've been like, all these federations, all these competitions and stuff. And he was always supporting me.
Mhm.
Then of course my family, because they were supporting me when I was a teenager, I was competing in the teenage classes. So of course, like I wouldn't be able to do it without my family if they were not supportive of what I do. Um, that's basically it because I don't have anybody else like all the other girls. They always have like these sponsors and couches and trainers, and we were doing everything like a couple together, and that was our like a family business. So
Well, I would like to say thank you to your husband because he's still strong beside you, supported you, and you supported him, and that's a good thing. We have somebody like that support you in your life, and also, blessed to see your family. I hope they're doing all right. Much respect to them, and they're supporting you. And also, folks, as I said again, you wanted to reach out to her. Her stuff in social media is in the description. Guys, I'm gonna keep telling you. I know you're hard headed. She's not gonna do this. She has a husband. She's a respectful lady. No D pics, you sick freaks. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't stop it. Stop it. This is a true story happened to me. I have a lady. We become friends. We were talking on IG, and while we were talking on IG, she let somebody into come. So you IG, somebody sent a signal said they want to join. I said, "Well, we join." And they said, "Some guy pulled his pants down." I said, "What the hell?" I played football in high school, and I seen guys walking up, but I don't want to see that when I'm talking to a lady on IG. No, I don't want to see that shit, man. I don't want to see that. So guys, don't do that. And like I said, this is what I'm going to say this, and I know there's guys out there who have deep pockets. You have the ways and the means to support women bodybuilding, or to support women's physique, support these ladies, or even go to these promoters and maybe try to bring more shows. Like this year, I feel like there's still a couple more shows they put up yet, but there could be more shows. Even start a new show or reach out. All you gotta do, like my man Sean, he's a men's physique competitor. He says all you gotta do is like put up at least about 8-10 grand and go to promoter and say, hey, I want to sponsor a women's bodybuilding show, and hey, you can write off the taxes. And yeah, if you got a good tax lawyer, anything can happen. But like I said, like this, I really thank you for sharing your story and your time. Like I said, I hope everything with you and your situations goes well. Like I said, as you know, this year you're gonna have masters. Maybe if you might get an invitation to the masters, you never know. I wish it was more part of the regular Olympia too, but they have it in Romania.
yeah, actually, masters professional classes are the ones I was really thinking about because this year they had some, and I believe they had some in Reno or something like that, like not so far away from us. I was looking at some of the masters shows as well for the pros because I'm still like not the youngest one anymore. So I was looking at the masters classes. Like Michelle Brandt was competing a lot of them. I'm
Yeah.
following her on Instagram. So
Mhm.
I was thinking kind of to maybe jump in some of the masters ones. either physique or bodybuilding.
Hmm. I think.
Maybe one way for me to go, like not just jump in the open pro shows, but jump in the masters ones.
Well, I know
Would be nice.
Chicago. I know Chicago has one. Tampa will have some master shows. I know one lady I
The
become.
temple one I was looking at, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think Gary Udit usually does most of those shows, but he hadn't posted them yet. Because I know a friend of mine, she reached out to me and said that they had posted the master show. I said, no, nah, they haven't gotten yet. So he might just wait till like more because he even had to pull out all the shows for the open shows yet. But it's like I say, it's about the money, process, and time. But like I say, I want to wish you best of luck. And like I said, and if it's not for this year, maybe next year, whatever you do, we will support you. And and just want to see you be successful. As I said again, like this, if you're someone out there who wants to sponsor people like Miss Lada, any amateur, professional bodybuilding, be genuine in support. Don't be this person saying like, hey, if you do this for me, I did this for you. No, be like this. Say, I want to support you as an athlete. I want to see you grow in your process as an athlete. I want to see you, be able to get to that next level. But like I said, that's what you want to see. Oh, we got someone right here saying, "Oh, he's making a compliment." This is Carlton Dean. Lada is beautiful. Oh, you got a fan. He's got a big, beautiful
Okay,
smile
follow me
too,
on
folks.
Instagram.
Yeah, and she's party too, fellas. She's party too. But like I said, I want to thank you for your time again. I
Thank you.
appreciate you, sharing your story. I hope everything for you and your husband turn out well for you. I hope we do see you compete. I hope we do get an opportunity. If not the Masters, maybe even the regular Olympia, whichever you want to do, whichever you want to go. This channel here, my channels here, support you. But folks, I like to say thank you again to Miss Lada. I want to shout out to my brothers, Execution 23, Balls Deep, 98. My sister, Miss Tisha, the Tigress Thomas. She's back in Berlin. She's doing well. She got a documentary. Carlton Dean, appreciate you coming through, brother, the last minute and supporting us. Folks, like I said again, support these women in the sport of bodybuilding. Support these ladies for their passion, determination, and commitment to the sport. I mean, people, you like this. I get people talking about, hey, this chick's want to be a man. No, she's not wanting to be a man. She's an athlete. She's in the sport where she wants to be competitive. And if you can't understand that, here's the best advice for you: shut the hell up and mind your business. Excuse my language. I'm too passionate about this. But like I said, folks, I'd like to thank y'all again for coming through. Share, like, comment, subscribe. Also, like I said again, Miss Lala's information, social media information in the description. Check out, reach out to if you are a competitor also looking for somebody to help them out. This lady has nearly 30 years of experience in this sport. And I think that's some 30 years I think you can really use.
Experiences with people who have maybe some damage with metabolism. Yep.
Yeah. And that's also,
Like,
yeah.
I will be
Yeah.
more than happy to help everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good too. You help somebody out that might have going through what you're going through, and that's good. Knowledge is power. So anyway, folks, I'd like to thank you for your time coming through. Like I said again, share, like, comment, subscribe to my channel. My channel is growing. I appreciate when I do interviews like with Lolly here, and I appreciate y'all coming through and sharing your stories. Like I said, 2023 is just starting. Big things are coming, and I hope things will get to the better which that we see more going toward these women in sport, more support, more acknowledgement, and more respect. And like I said again, ma'am, I'd like to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyway, this is man always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk. Like, don't like, subscribe. We're out. Have a great rest of the day and happy 2023.